I'm Adora. I was actually born in Onitsha and went to the States around 2000, where I grew up in Chicago. And that's where I started to channel my music ability. When it comes to men, I'm just very flirty and fun, and I'm like, you have to show me what you got. Like, I'm not gonna do the work, so. So, you know, to me, it's like, I like this guy. That's what the story is about. I like him, but you have to enter my boat and show me what you got before I give you anything in return.
But okay,
I mean, we keep giving each other excuses, but we acknowledge that there's a group of people who can do it, but there are also groups of people who can
But I think that
do it.
there's a lot that comes with that, because I also see it for the fact that when we were coming to this country, there were a lot of adversities against us. We cannot like compare it to like Chinese communities, a lot of Asian communities, because they had a lot more leeway and they had a lot more power than people who look like us. First of all, resources, and they had the money coming from them. Because the Asian people a lot of the Asian people coming to America have money, versus a lot of the people coming from these other countries don't have their money.
Why are Nigerians abroad not as united as other immigrant groups?
I don't know.
But we're not, though. We're not united as other immigrant groups, more than other immigrant groups.
Why do you say that?
Because other immigrant groups, they live in the same areas, they do business together, they make money together, they have a combined wealth. They sell, buy with each other before they sell and buy from other ethnic groups.
That's true.
Their dollar circulates more.
Yes.
First before it leaves.
100%. Before it leaves the community.
Right.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
There's actually statistics to it too.
I disagree. I think it depends on what area you're in.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at least I know in New York, the African community is in a very central location. Like, it's literally all the shops there are African from whatever country. There's Nigerian.
Yeah.
They all live in one building. They all know each other. They all shop at the same store. Even from my suburb back in Chicago suburbs. So we have a community of Nigerians. We all go to the same store. We all support the same Nigerian store. We all send our money there. So I think it just depends on your location. I don't know if we necessarily aren't as united in the sense, like, I think when it comes down to it, we ride for each other, and like we pull up when anybody tries to talk
What about
us.
building wealth? Because other groups,
united in what sense? Are we talking about wealth, or are we just talking about as united?
I think wealth is a huge part of being united.
Yeah, because we're not building as a group here. That
There should be a little Lagos.
Yeah, like that would
There is a little Lagos.
Where?
Go to PG County, Maryland.
That's just the hood.
Lagos Central.
That's just the hood. That's not little Lagos.
All your uncles and aunties and cousins and everything, your pastors, they all live in the same apartment building. They all live in the same apartment store. They go get the same chin chin and gari.
It's not the same.
Please.
It's not the same.
But no, but there was a study, because I remember listening to it on the Joe Budden podcast, where they talked about hold on. The reason why I referenced the Joe Budden podcast is because when they spoke on this, it came up from a reputable source.
Okay.
They talked about the dollar circulation in each community, from white to black, and black was at the bottom of the list.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So now let's extract Africans out of black for the purpose of this conversation. While I agree that there are in smaller sections over in multiple areas, I think we have to think about the overall picture. The overall picture is we are not united. Like you said, we do not own the apartment complexes. We do not open even the shops that we go to. It's not owned by us. It's rented by us, but the ownership. And then we're not also reaching down to the younger ones to assist, to help, to give them the blueprint of Nigerians is more of I can't give this person. They can't come and collect my customers. Like it's
Ethiopia.
Yes. Yes.
Every time I go there, I'm always like so salty because I'm like, what are we doing? Like, really? This is a whole, like, you walk down an entire strip, almost all the way through Georgia Ave, and it's owned by a bunch of Ethiopians.
All of our money goes to church.
I think it's
and Nigerians are just.
But because Nigeria itself is divided in all of the different communities, we can't really compare it to other places. Because you're saying like Silver Spring is Ethiopia, but if you now say, oh, Eritreans, that is a beef. Because they have their own beef.
And then even within the countries, their tribes how you eat.
Exactly. So you can't necessarily have this group when everybody's divided. Like maybe there might be a little Igbo community, a little Yoruba community, a little Edo, a little Hausa. But I mean, like you can't really. I mean, Hausa doesn't really believe that.
Yeah, they don't.
But you know, it's just like you can't ask them to be united when there's already such divisiveness within the country. Like, it's
but then also like along with that, not every Nigerian that's here has money. Like not every Nigerian, or let me broaden it out. Most Nigerians that have immigrated to the United States specifically, they're not wealthy.
Mhm.
They might have a little change to, buy a nice house in Texas and, drive one kind of Mercedes Benz. But
yeah.
they might not have enough to buy the apartment building or to buy the store, to buy the block. Because that's another thing. They're sending money home. They're sending money home to people that don't have resources as well.
I have two really, really great counters to what you said.
Okay.
The first one is if you have the money to buy a Benz, if you have the money to buy a house, my first thought was I don't know the English terminology for this, but I'll try to explain it as best as I can. Ajo.
Like a pot.
Like pot,
Okay.
if you it's not necessarily if you can do ajo, then you guys can ajo together and buy a building. You guys can ajo together and buy this event space. You guys can ajo together and buy this parking lot.
But
That's what I'm saying. So it doesn't have to be an
Yeah.
individual thing.
But earlier,
We don't trust each other. There's no trust.
there are people. Okay, in one of our earlier discussions, or maybe I don't know where you're gonna read this episode, but we're talking about greed, capitalism, individualistic societies.
Uh-huh.
How can we have what was the term again? Agile.
Mm-hmm.
How can we have agile when we have these other things in place as well? These other factors.
But
People are
again,
going to think about communal giving or fundraising when they're trying to focus on how to raise enough or get enough money at their
Feed
maybe
their
one,
family.
2, maybe 3 jobs,
And hopefully
feed their family and then send money back.
because that person was greedy.
But no.
Everybody's money on that.
Okay, so if we want to be very technical about it, right? Okay, so like using it as a cross reference, the Chinese people, right? You see, they own the buildings, they own the Chinese stores, the laundromats, yes, the 7-Elevens and stuff like that. So one way to look at it is, I was talking to my Pakistani friend, right, who his dad and his siblings like do all that stuff. One thing that he brought to my attention was he says everybody comes to the table with their own lawyer, right? So now we talk about the cost or the expense. Hold on. So we talk about the cost and expense of lawyers because of the trust issue, right? There's LegalZoom, it's $24.99 a month.
But okay,
we keep giving each other excuses,
Yeah.
but we acknowledge that there's a group of people who can do it, but there are also groups of people who
But I
can
think that
do it.
there's a lot that comes with that, because I also see it for the fact that when we were coming to this country, there were a lot of adversities against us. We cannot compare it to Chinese communities, a lot of Asian communities, because they had a lot more leeway and they had a lot more power than people who look like us. First of all, resources, and they had the money coming from them. Because the Asian people a lot of the Asian people coming to America have money, versus a lot of the people coming from these other countries don't have money. They're coming from poverty, America to obtain the money back home. And that's also a reason why we don't have these established communities. And also you can say there's little China, there's little Japan, there's little Cuba, whatever, in all of these predominant areas, but you can also see where those migrations came from, where they had the long history of people, those foundations that were set, versus us, we don't have that long history and long foundation set here in the US.
And in comparison to, we'll use China as an example, comparison to China, we only started coming recently. Chinese people have been coming since, the 1800s?
That is true.
They've been coming from their systems are already very solidified, established, set in place.
Name a state that doesn't have a little Chinatown.
Exactly.
But here's the one thing I just want to point out, right? I agree with everything both of you are saying 100%. But I also think, yes, while there are people who come here who are poverty stricken or who are just trying to find their way, through this new society and stuff, there are also people who are here who can afford to do these things, but choose not to do these things.
That's right.
Both can equally exist in the same space.
I agree with you that they exist.
Just
but
wanna.
let's talk about the people who can do it. So what is the issue then?
They just don't want to do it. That's the problem. That's the issue. They don't want to do it.
An example is that like when
education. Some people don't even know that they can.
that's right.
People can barely fill out
not
taxes.
everyone's financially literate.
People don't even know how to fill out. I just learned how to fill out that stupid 1098 form like a few years ago. They don't teach you this kind of things in school.
Yeah.
You graduate trying to figure that out.
Which is why like the people who know how to needs to be able to
Exactly.
give
That's
the
part of the
information. That's part of the uniting.
But
like if you have an uncle who's a CPA or an accountant and stuff like that, right? Your uncle should automatically. Well, the way I think about things is like your uncle should automatically be like, hey, okay, go and bring your taxes. Let me show you how to do it. Because for example, I'm a property adjuster, right? I read homeowners policies all day. Anytime I'm talking to someone who just purchased a house or who's in the process of purchasing a house, I always say, hey, purchasing this house is very, very important, but your homeowner's insurance is also the next most important thing. You need to read your policy. And if you have questions, let me know. I will walk you through your homeowner's policy. That's me going out of my way to offer my services for free because a lot of people don't know it. And that's the problem. And that is the problem.
But like I was saying earlier, America is very individualistic.
Yeah.
America isn't like China where they really value community and family and things like that. So when you're coming to a country where it's everyone for themselves, you have to assimilate to that. You can't it's not going to be easy to create these systems with communities when everyone else is so used to, I'm just gonna get this money and then use this for my family and then maybe I'll send some back home. And we could start changing things. We could start working toward owning those buildings and those properties and things like that. But at the same time, we're still in America.
And I think it's also like a lot of these places or individuals or countries that are here and established, they're not coming to build wealth. They're coming to just add to their wealth. So versus us, we're coming here to build our wealth. And a lot of the times, a lot of us who came here, our parents, they came here to get the US dollar so that they can send us to school, to get education so that, we can send money back and da-da-da. Like, it's not a cycle of, we came here to establish more of our power here and to, add to our wealth here. It was, we came here so that we can get some wealth, so that we can get a little power. So it's harder to have that mindset of, I want to build when it's like, you're just thinking about your family. For a lot of us, we came here thinking about our family to get our family in a better situation. So I think that mindset would fall more so on us, but I don't think we're trying to build in the US. Our generation is trying to build back home. And that's where we're trying to unify ourselves, is back home. I know people who are buying property next to each other so that they can create wealth and
because
jobs.
Because is not sustainable for Black people in general. Talk about Africans, and then for a long, long period of time. You can't live here. I mean, if you live here and die here, sure, but it's not sustainable for a healthy, long life to live in the United States as a Nigerian or African person. You're also not even really accepted. You're also battling being Black, and then you're battling being African. And then also in the Black community, there's that separation of African Americans and Africans. And then you have everybody's just separated within separation. Like it just gets broken down. And so how do you now build?
Then on top of that, we're in America. Our systems are extremely
horrible.
Very expensive. For some people, it's even hard to get a loan to buy a house because they're Black.
They set you up to not be able to buy a house.
The
system is set up to rent and borrow. To owe debt. It's not to be wealth.
That article that just came out about the Black man who appraised his home. He put himself as a Black man on his application. It was $450,000. He took his Blackness off the application. It was $750,000. So how can we as communities buy properties when they don't want us to? They see our color, they see our names, our last names, they see these things, and they're like, no, we don't want that here. So they don't want to let us establish these. And even like back in the day when we did have those Black communities, where are they now? They were taken and destroyed. So how can we build back something that was never ours?
Is this a community in Tulsa?
I know what you mean.
But yes, the Black Wall Street was in like Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all of those things. But one thing I do want to say in terms of like a solution based off of kind of some of the things that we talked about. I think it's important that even us that we're here, we're in different fields, we can benefit off of each other in terms of the stuff that we can share with each other to help each other out. I also think that, listening to podcasts on finance, like I listen to Earn Your Leisure, and they talk about ways that they finance things. Life insurance is a big hack here.
Right.
A lot of white people in America use life insurance to purchase those extra properties to put their kids through school, taking equity or from
you borrow from your life insurance.
Yeah, borrow from your life insurance, borrow from your actual home, take a second mortgage on your home to fund a business that can bring you more income. So like these are the conversations we need to have. But one thing I noticed was, so the nonprofit I volunteer for, we did two things this year. We did a budget Zoom call that was free, and we did like a house call with like realtors and a lender that was free. And one thing we realized was like barely anybody showed up. But as soon as we threw out invitation for like some parties and stuff like that, everybody was signing up. So sometimes sometimes these resources are available to us, but us as individuals don't take advantage of it.
I think we've been very disheartened by the system, where it's like even if we take these classes, get this knowledge, when we get in front of the people who don't look like us, who have the power to write that signature and give us that stamp, they're gonna tell us no. So a lot of times they feel like it's a waste of time. Like a lot of us have the knowledge, but once you go to those banks, once you go to those appraisers, once you go to these people, they'll literally deny you to your face and give you no reason why you're denied. And there's nothing that can teach you about why you were denied besides the color of your skin.
Okay, so to wrap this all up, what is the one or two things you feel as though we need to be united?
I honestly think I don't think we should worry about being united in the United States.
Exactly.
I don't be united in the United States.
I like
We
that.
should be united in our country. Let us take it back to our country, because if we are thinking about let's establish ourselves in the U.S., that is literally the negative, like the opposite of what we've been discussing about trying to put back into our country. Because why should we be united here when we should be united in
Well,
Nigeria?
we need the resources here to build there too.
But I'm saying, there's no need to be united here.
Yeah.
Take the resources. Be like China. Enter places
Well,
and take.
I think my question with that is being united, we should try to have some type of unity here so we can together with like one mind.
I don't think it's necessary.
Because if we're all doing it one by one here, everybody will go back one by one with that mentality and still do
But the
it
thing
themselves
is,
there.
like, we do have unity here. I think it's just that because we're all so spread out, it's a lot
it's
harder
harder.
to. But I think, like what Kim said, my dear sis Kim, like what she said, I think as long as we have the mindset to give, because America isn't really shit, honestly. And America's already established.
Yeah.
Let's give our resources. If they're asking for it, right? Let's give our resources. Let's give our our information. Things that we might have learned here. Not to say that people in Nigeria don't have this information or these resources for themselves, but it's just like if we're trying to build back our country and allow it to progress, we should be feeding back into it rather than trying to band together in America or UK or whoever else.
Yeah.
The only last thing I will say is I agree with you to an extent. I think both can mutually happen, and I'm looking at it from kind of seeing like some of my intimate family members and parents do it. You can build wealth here, you can have properties here, you can build wealth in Nigeria, have properties, have businesses. I think both can mutually coexist, and you are able to, let's say at some point, move from America, go to Nigeria while your kids are here living off of your wealth and building their own wealth and continue the cycle in both